coronavirus and people social distancing, the online services that use plastic packaging have grown very sharply. So the use of plastic is definitely rising in the coronavirus, but there's also a problem of managing the plastic waste, because during this coronavirus, many people are reluctant to handle the waste of other people because they're afraid of catching the disease. So waste collection systems are not working as they usually do. So we have a double problem. We have more plastic being used and less plastic being managed properly. So this coronavirus situation, I think, has very much raised awareness around the need to address plastic waste properly. But I think that the world already was beginning to understand the importance of plastic and the importance of managing plastic waste properly even before this coronavirus. So I think that whilst it's put the spotlight on plastic waste, it doesn't really change the urgency, because it was already very urgent that the world starts to manage this properly. And I think that at the Alliance to End Plastic Waste, when we talk to companies, I think that their commitment to addressing plastic hasn't really changed because of coronavirus. They already recognized that this was a very important issue. They are already making commitments and investing with us to try to address it. And I think what's very important is that during this coronavirus, we have a very weak economy globally, and it's very challenging times for companies. But our members there hasn't been a single one that has decided to stop investing with us, or not a single company that's decided to stop working on this plastic waste issue. So in a normal recession, companies might cut back on some of their spending. But in this coronavirus situation, it's very encouraging and I think good to see that companies are maintaining their commitment to investing into solutions for this plastic waste problem.
Yes, and also I see that your organization have different concepts. One of this is think global and act local. And you just mentioned that actually the ocean plastic pollution already a very urgent problem, not just only after COVID-19 pandemic. So from your perspective, how can we unite the different powers or different organizations together, like unite international organizations, NGOs, and put different resources together to deal with this urgent problem?
Yeah, well, I think that it's an interesting problem, because it is a global challenge. Every country in the world is contributing plastic waste to the environment, and every country has room to improve in how they manage plastic waste. Some have a lot and others have not so much, but every country needs to improve. So you're right, this is a global challenge. But in order to address it, it requires local action. So local communities, local cities, local businesses have to act in a local way in order to address this. So it does need global thinking around what the solutions are, but it absolutely requires local action. And I think one of the important things to stress in how we think about the solutions to plastic waste is that this requires collective action and it requires systems change. So no one organization can solve this problem. There's not a single government that can solve it. There's not a single business that can solve it. Everybody has to work together. So it requires collective action, and it also requires working on all the different parts of the plastic value chain, from the very top, where companies are making plastic, to the consumer goods companies that are using plastic, to the recycling and the waste management companies that are managing the plastic waste at the end. So from the top of the plastic value chain to the bottom of the plastic value chain, we all have to work together. And so I think this requires a unique approach where we address all the different aspects of the system, not just one bit. It's not just one industry sector working on this. It's all industry sectors that are involved with plastic working in a collaborative way. And that's, I think, an important approach that we need to have in place. And it's certainly one of the principles that we are pursuing at the Alliance to End Plastic Waste, is that we have member companies from the chemical sector, we have member companies from consumer goods, we have member companies from the waste management, and we're bringing them together to try to work in a collaborative way. Of course, they have different opinions, they have different views, and they don't always agree on what is the right answer. But it's important that we bring them together to have those discussions, because that's the only way that we'll be able to drive change at the systems level rather than just at the industry or the company level.
Thank you for your sharing. And from your sharing, we can see that one important thing is that unite together. Just as you mentioned that no single country, no single government or organization can deal with this problem alone. So from your sharing, and we can see that how urgent the problem is and how important we unite together. And again, thank you for your sharing, and time is up. 让我们再次把掌声送。
One applause to Mr. Justin Wood. Thank you very much for your sharing.
好。
And coming next, I would like to invite our second speaker to share with us their opinions. And he is Mr. Xiaofeng. So please say hi to our audience and introduce to us your company. Thank you very much. Distinguished guests, my dear audience, and my dear colleagues, good afternoon. It is my great pleasure to be here to discuss marine pollution. I come from DMVGL. You may be very familiar with my company. We have cooperated with many different members of this industry. If you are not in the industry, you may not be familiar with us. We have a history of 180 years of risk management and third-party guarantee. And for the over the 180 years, we have been dedicated to marine affairs and marine risk management. So today I would like to share with you marine pollution and what are the sources of marine pollution. You are an expert in marine affairs and related matters, and according to my knowledge, this your company has introduced to the world the first requirements and verification processes to certify that ocean plastic waste is actually 100% plastic from the ocean. We know that there are like food traceability plans and requirements, but the traceability of ocean plastic is one of the first kind from your company. So could you share with us about this traceability? Actually, this is one of our projects, and one of our members and organizations have participated in the project of ocean cleanup, and we need to define what is plastic from ocean and how to trace the origin of the plastic, and also the transparency of the traceability of the plastic origin. And when we are doing this project, we have developed relevant standards. So what is the purpose of this traceability verification? And for the standards itself, if we want to have circular economy, if we want to have a long-term sustainable development, as one of the members of the public, or if you act as an investor, you need to ensure that the plastic, so-called plastic from the ocean is actually from the ocean. So we need to ensure that the plastic that is claimed to have been collected from the ocean is actually 100% from the ocean. So our traceability verification standards may help to address this issue. So your standards is helping us to ensure that every link of this collection and the distribution of this and the end use of the plastic from the ocean is actually from the ocean. Yes, we need to know the origin of the plastic from the ocean, is whether it is from the ocean. And for the audience, we have some online data for the public to understand whether the plastic is from the ocean. And we can see that the entire industry is also seeking innovation to see whether we can better address marine pollution and also provide other ideas for the industries to better and continuously improve our performance. Yes, this is one of the directions we are working towards. And you have abundant research on marine affairs, including marine pollution. And some marine activities may also cause burdens to our ocean. We know that some of the largest terminals are using many different approaches to reduce the impact of large vessels on the ocean. And according to your recent observations and studies, what do you think about the greatest impact of the vessels and the shipping industry onto the ocean? What should be the focus for us to follow? And as I am in the industry, and I think that compared with the aviation transportation and land transportation, and I think that shipping may have a less pollution and emission. And we can see that many international laws and regulations to ensure the compliance of the shipment of marine industries. And with the development of the economy, and we are seeing the rise of trade and also the transportation through ocean, and we now have attached great importance to the development of the shipping industry and also marine industry, and especially marine pollution. And we can see that in 1954, IMO had published relevant regulations on emissions of the vessels. There are operational pollution and also incidental pollution, and it may cause both ocean and also atmosphere pollution. We can see that some our daily waste or solid waste or hazardous waste and also plastic and also other accidents happening on the ocean will also cause pollution and emission, especially emission of greenhouse gases. And even noise. The noise can also have pollution, or we say impact, on the marine animals. So this may be a new aspect. Let me add some comments on this because it is related to my background. Because I study noise and its impact on ocean and marine animals. Because we can see now there's many vessels are operating on the ocean, and you can understand that the noise created by those vessels is equivalent to maybe the noise in airports, and the noise will affect the mammals and other animals in the ocean and also the environments they are living in. So deep water noise is now considered one of the marine pollution sources, which should be constrained or studied, regulated by international regulations and laws. And we can see that now we have many different types of marine pollutions, and there are some new sources of pollutions on the ocean. So for those existing sources and some new sources of marine pollution, what do you think, especially from the perspective of DNVGL and also the industry, what kind of actions should we take to address the challenges we are facing today, especially some effective actions? Could you tell us more about it? And I think there are 2 points here. From the perspective of the industry, we need to address the traditional sources of pollutions and also address new sources of pollutions. We need to address the issue of compliance. Many international organizations such as IMO are developing many different regulations. We can see the 1954 and 1973 regulations from IMO and many different revisions of those resolutions. And also MAPLO's conventions, which is used to regulate the design of the vessels. And we are also seeing that some other conventions and regulations regulating the oil emission and also the impact of the emission of carbon emission. You can see these are legal or legislation efforts on the marine pollution. And we need to have those international organizations as the regulators. And for those class societies and also port terminals and also government departments, we need to work together to ensure that these regulations and laws are implemented, well implemented.
And also have the emergency response, disaster relief initiatives. For example, in the crash of the cars, how can we prevent further leakage of the oil and gas, etc. And I believe another important thing is to improve the wellness of the crew members, to enhance their appliance, and that can prevent those disasters from happening in the first place. And we, as administrators, and in particular I from the NGV, I think we should take up our responsibilities, and we also should play our roles in innovation, and I here have some story to share with you. Now we see the increasing demand for the reduction of carbon emission. So we have to urge the owner of the ships to enhance their green economic wellness. While at the same time, we help them to understand this is not only obligation but also opportunity for profit making. You know that in demand a very high upfront investment. So we now have a Poseidon principle. Now we already have 18 shipping companies that have participated in the Poseidon agreement, and that account for a major part of the global financial resources in the shipping industry. And I believe this can make our effort in carbon reduction and green development more sustainable. And so they do it out of their own willingness to make more profit rather than being forced to do that. So now we also try to work with some other shipping companies, help them to evaluate their asset, evaluate their compliance. So if that's the case, that means we also take the compliance as a criteria for the follow-up investment from the banks. Is that the case? Yes. So from Mr. Liu's introduction, we see that we now have a series of international conventions and agreements that can protect the environment, but at the same time, we try to increase the wellness of all stakeholders. We sometimes should act one step forward. We should take preventive measures rather than to take the emergency response afterward. Okay, thank you for your sharing. Let's give him a warm applause. So our next speaker has been waiting for us for a long time.
Invite our third speaker, Ms. Lonneke Holierhoek, Chief Operating Officer of the Ocean Cleanup, to join us. Hi, Mr. Holierhoek. Please say hi to all the audience. Welcome to join us.
Thank you for having me in this forum.
And I see that actually the Ocean Cleanup is designing and developing cleanup system to clean up what is polluting oceans and also to intercept plastic on its way to ocean via rivers. So at the very beginning, I would like to know that why do we have to address those problems or clean those man-made ocean pollutions in the rivers of those coastal and maritime country or region? And why do we have to do this in this way?
Yeah, thank you. I think we have to state at first that the pollution of our oceans by plastic and other man-made chemicals is an environmental disaster. And to address this disaster, the Ocean Cleanup has made it its mission to provide solutions to clean the oceans by developing technological solutions. But to solve the problem, we need to understand it first. I brought a graphic. I don't know if you can show that now. That explains what the different sources are contributing to the plastic pollution in the ocean. We've done a lot of research, and we have found the different proportions of contributing factors. So marine sources, such as shipping and fishing, as well as coastal sources, such as agriculture and fish farms, they contribute to the plastic pollution, for sure. But our research has identified that the majority of the plastic and debris ending up in the ocean is brought there by means of transport through rivers. So rivers bring the majority of the debris into the ocean, transporting it from land-based sources, and subsequently it ends up in our seas and oceans. Once it has arrived in the ocean, a lot of the material arriving from rivers will sink to the seabed because not all plastic floats as well. The materials that do float very well, most of it, again, will end up on a coastline or a beach at some time. So it will end up back on shore. Only a small proportion will continue to travel at sea, and eventually this material will end up, this plastic will end up in what we call a gyre. Gyres are areas in our oceans where the currents are mostly circular. So when the material ends up there, it's really hard to escape. And therefore, in those gyres, the plastic continues to arrive and it continues to accumulate because it does not, it's very durable in that sense. It doesn't go away, it doesn't degrade very fast. So once it's there, it's very persistent, and we see increasing concentrations of plastics in those gyres. I brought another graphic to show what we can do to clean our oceans. If we want plastic-free oceans, and we at the Ocean Cleanup certainly want that, we need to do two things. We both need to close the tap and clean up the legacy plastic, the plastic that's already out there in our oceans. But if we don't give priority to closing this tap, the amount of the plastic in our oceans will grow exponentially. It's already accumulating at an alarming rate, but the models show that the growth rate will continue to increase. And that means that marine fauna, the inhabitants of our oceans, are threatened by this plastic. They will be harmed. They will mistake plastic for food, and you will understand it's not food. Apart from it not being food and therefore not being good for them, it's also, when it's been in the ocean for a long time, it reacts with the various pollutants surrounding it and actually becomes even more toxic than normal plastic would be. So in that sense, eating plastic that's been in the ocean can be very harmful. And animals can get entangled in plastic debris, which restricts their freedom to move and hence their ability to catch food. At this stage, the mass of the plastic in the ocean is still for the majority consisting of larger parts of plastic. But if we don't act now, this plastic will over time deteriorate in even smaller pieces. And micro-sized particles of plastic are almost impossible to clean. And if that happens, and it's already happening, plastic will end up in the human food chain. It will harm our economy, especially the ones in coastal countries. And it's a major risk factor in the biodiversity on this planet. So, to that end, to close the tap and clean up the legacy pollution problem, the Ocean Cleanup is developing two very different sets of technology. So we're developing a technology to clean up the ocean. For the past years, we've operated various versions of the ocean cleanup technology, and we've seen successes, and we have collected ocean plastic in that sense. We're focusing that. Sorry.
And I also see that actually the ocean cleanup have a program to called Global Action, and it's targeting 1,000 most important rivers in the world. And could you please briefly introduce this global action to us, and what does this mean to the companies?
Yeah, so our second step in our technology development is to actually provide technology to clean the rivers, to prevent the plastic to enter the ocean in the first place. And towards that, we have developed the Interceptor. The Interceptor is a machine that is specifically developed for rivers, so not for the ocean. And we want those technology solutions to be helping towards solving or cleaning the 1,000 most polluted rivers in the world. So our studies have found that 1,000 rivers contribute to 80% of the total pollution. So if we close those contributors, then we can close the tap and we can stop the pollution from becoming worse. The development that we have here, the Interceptor, is an autonomously operated machine. It's floating in a river. It's placed on anchors, so stationary, and it works by concentrating the debris towards the entrance of the machine, and the machine will take it out of the river through a system of conveyor belts in an environmentally friendly way. The machine can be produced quite rapidly and in large numbers. So it will be a solution to a lot of different rivers. It runs on renewable energy sources, and it has a daily capacity being able to extract 50 to 100 tons on a certain extent of waste. And it can be placed in rivers where there is navigation as well. So the materials removed by that machine can be transported to shore, offloaded, and handled towards recycling facilities or other waste management facilities. We want to find ways to be able to place a lot of those interceptors around the world. We are a relatively small company, so we can't do that alone. And we really need partners, like it has been said before. We can't solve this problem by ourselves, so we want partners to help us, to either help us with finding knowledge and science about understanding the problem, to operate and fund the interceptors worldwide, to handle the waste that comes from this project in a responsible way. So that's why we are calling out for support, for help, to find partners who either work with us globally or regionally or in a specific country.
Thank you. Thank you for Mr. Lonneke sharing. Let's give a round of big applause for Mr. Lonneke wonderful sharing. 让我们再一次把掌声送给霍利赫克女士，感谢她的分享。那么接下来。
And now let me invite our last speaker online. And he is Mr. Zhang Chu, Senior Engineering at the First Institute of Oceanography of the Ministry of Natural Resources of China. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Zhang Zhiwei. It's my great pleasure to be here to participate in this conference online. So actually, you are from the government. You are an engineer, and we understand that China is developing its strengths in marine-related capacity building. And in terms of marine pollution and what kind of measures and policies have been introduced by China, and what other efforts by China? Could you share with us about these policies and efforts? I made presentation slides. Could you please open my slides? Yes, I can hear your voice, but I made my presentation slides and sent it to the organizing committee. Could you please open my slides? Mr. Zhang Zhiwei need his presentation slides to be shown on the screen. Yes, we are running your presentation slides. The previous speakers mentioned about marine pollution, plastic waste, that these are factors affecting the ecosystem of the ocean. And the World Magazine, at the end of 2019, organized an activity to discuss the major topics about our world, and ocean is one of the topics. And China attaches great importance to marine pollution and ocean waste, and especially ocean plastic. And as you mentioned just now, in China, the country started its legislation efforts in 1995, and since then, we have been working to better regulate the collection and distribution and storage of waste from our daily life, but we neglect ocean waste. But in recent years, the country has increased its efforts in terms of marine pollutions. And legislation is one of its efforts. And the previous speakers mentioned cooperation. And now China is also seeking cooperation not only to address ocean issues, but also address ocean issues by connecting all the factors, including factors related to the land. And China also established plastic-related treatment plans to better address plastic pollution issues. And the relevant government departments will be implementing the regulations and implementations. And many coastal cities and regions have also developed their own plastic pollution regulation and treatment plans. And for solid waste and also environmental protection regulations have also been developed to not only address plastic issues, but also environmental issues at large. For instance, in Sanya City, the city has forbidden the production of non-degradable plastic. And we are also seeing that many different ministries of China have developed plans and regulations to address the pollution issues of Bohai Sea of China, so that better address the waste pollution issue of Bohai Sea in China. And from your sharing, we can understand that starting from the 1990s, China has had its legislation efforts to address marine pollution and also marine plastic pollution. And many previous speakers mentioned that plastic from the ocean is not something that can rely on one single country or one single government. So from your perspective, China as one single country, it is proposing the community of shared future, seek to assume greater responsibilities to address global issues, to play a bigger role in the global issues, and also to advocate for more participation by many other countries to address marine pollutions. So what do you think of China's efforts in this regard? Yes, marine pollution and also marine waste treatment rely on many different shareholders. It will pose long-term and also short-term risks to us. We also need to, through our waste treatment and also sustainable governance systems, to address this issue. And for sustainable governance systems, we need to have an ocean space plan to better protect the ocean environment. And I think this is very important because we can understand the capacity of the ocean to better reduce the impact of human activities on the ocean. And China has made great efforts in this regard, and it has implemented many different work in this regard because our country understands that ocean space is very important, and from the 1980s, China has developed relevant ocean functional zones or ocean functional zoning plans to better address the marine issues. And the central government has also have some overall country land and sea resources plan, also targeting the zoning of ocean space. And also to promote our relevant experience in ocean space planning, and China has signed many different assignments with different coastal countries and also MOUs to better address the issue of marine space zoning and also the growth of marine economy. And relevant proposals by China has been integrated into international organizations, and international organizations have also carried out further study on marine space zoning. And for instance, the United Nations has developed its roadmap on ocean plan zoning to better understand different functions of the ocean and functions of different zones of the ocean. And in February last year, China and Paris of France also cooperated on a project to better address relevant marine issues and also marine functional zonings in especially the Southeast Pacific region. And the United Nations has also worked to address ocean pollution and develop relevant frameworks to better address the issue of marine space zoning and to reduce the activities of human on the ocean. And the East Asia countries have also developed their own evaluation over the status and the situation of ocean. And in 2021, we will see the first year of the United Nations efforts to start its Sustainable Development 10 years of ocean development. And one of the objectives is to identify the pollutants of the oceans. And in this plan, to zone the space of the ocean is one of the targets. And China is part of this plan, and China is sharing its experience in marine space zoning. And China is also promoting its experience and the plans to play its role in international efforts. And Mr. Zhang mentioned the continuous efforts from China, including relevant policies and measures. And in your work, what do you think are the closely followed measures by China? And in your work, you are seeing what kind of outcomes, effective solutions of those marine pollution issues. So I think that we need to have planning and technologies to help us address the marine issues. And in Qingdao of our country, in Shandong province, there have been a lot of severe severe ocean pollution issues. For instance, there are many pollutions caused by the algae, and especially in Yangtze River region, the pollution of the algae is very severe, causing the decreasing number of many different species and biodiversity, and also affected by the temperature factors. The impact of the algae is increasing. So you can see that actually the marine issue is not only issues of a single region. The ocean is an open space, it connecting different regions, and the ocean space are also connected. We need to apply different tools to systematically approach and address ocean issues, especially ocean pollutions. And I think this is the future topics that we need to follow. Thank you very much for your sharing. And through your sharing, we can understand that China as a responsible country is dedicating to marine pollutions and also marine waste treatment. And I think that the entire world will have a different view on China's efforts in marine pollution, and we look forward to greater efforts from our own country. Thank you. And next, I would like to invite our fifth speaker. He is sitting next to me, Mr. Patrick Yeung. He is from WWF China Ocean Program Expert. Good afternoon. I am Patrick from WWF China Ocean Program Expert, and WWF is one of the largest environmental organizations in the world. We address food, rivers and forests, and also ocean-related issues. And my expertise is in ocean. So your expertise is about marine and marine. Is about ocean and ocean protection. So could you share with us your experience, especially your experience in dealing with marine pollution and how severe its impact on the environment, and what kind of efforts from WWF have what are the efforts of WWF and what are the outcomes of your efforts? So speaking of my experience, and maybe I would like to start with some movies about like sea turtles. You can see when they are found on the beach, you can see actually in their noses there are many different plastic waste. And for whales, when the whales got stranded on the beach, and you will also see that within its stomachs there are plenty of plastic. There is wide media coverage of these issues, and I have conducted research on the ocean and marine pollutions. And in Hong Kong, there is a place called Waste Bay. It is in the east of Hong Kong Island. Many people think that Hong Kong is a place full of high rises, sky rises. But there is Waste Bay in Hong Kong. It is not a name. It is actually a bay full of wastes. If you go to beaches and many different coastal areas, you will see sand and stones. But if you go to that bay, you will see a lot of wastes. So your first impression is that you are standing under the waste, because the wastes are as high as 2 meters. So you are actually surrounded by the wastes if you are at the bay. So what are the sources of the waste? Maybe some people dump the waste there, but actually it is not the case. Actually, those wastes come from the ocean because of human activities. Many plastic and waste have gone to the ocean.
So those waste has been brought to the beaches by tide. So I'm deeply impressed by that. And I also greatly concerned about this. In WWF, the organization where I work, I participated in a lot of international cooperation projects. When we collaborate together, firstly, we will come upon with the methodologies with which we can resolve the challenges resulted from the maritime pollutant. And let me give you some examples. Maybe we organize the teams to the beaches and collect the waste on the beaches. But you know that on a yearly basis, it's about 12 million tons of waste that have been thrown into the ocean. It's impossible for us to recover them just with the manual efforts. Yes. Even with some organizations like our previous speakers, they organize they use some technologies, machines, and try to prevent those waste from going into the ocean. But I don't think it's enough for us to treat such huge amount of pollutant. So what we should do is to shoot the problem from its roots, including the design of the package, design of product. We should reduce the use of plastics. We should minimize the use of plastics. But we all know that plastics plays a vital role in our daily life. What we wear and what we use, all those things are made of plastics. Plastic fibers play such an important role in our life. We can also call it a kind of inseparable part of our life. So it's impossible for us to get rid of the plastics at all. So what we should do is we should firstly minimize its use. Secondly, try to maximize its recycling. We try to recover the used plastic, and we centrally process them, manage them, and recycle them, just like ocean tuna. They have collected the waste from 1,000 rivers worldwide, and I think it's a great attempt in this regard. So yes, I agree with you. That is the general direction. And in this direction, we have a lot of possibilities that we can jointly explore. For example, we can encourage the end process to fully leverage and adopt the emerging technologies to control the pollution. But we have to make sure they will have a sustainable and profitable business model, right? Because profitability is vital for the survival of any process. Otherwise, they cannot sustain their own business in their so-called recycling economy. So in this regard, do you have any experience or insight to share with us? I think it's a great question because all of our panelists today come from different backgrounds. As you say that plastics, the end process, they can decide whether or not you will use plastics and how much you will use. But be it government, be it business or general public, we should consider the consumption of our plastics. On the part of the government will issue laws, stipulate regulations, which can serve as a compulsory force to control the use of plastics, and also it can give more incentive measures encouraging the end process to reduce the use of plastics. Well, for us, we as individuals, we also should take our part in it. We should make a small change from ourselves, and when we accumulate all those changes together, it may have huge impact on future. You know that you talk about the business model of enterprises, but the business model of enterprises actually comes from the individual's behavior, in particular the consumer's behavior. If we as individuals, we do not want to use plastics, we believe our willingness will force the enterprises to change their business model and to change their behavior. And in the production of their product, they can redesign the workflow, the production process, or redesign the package and the raw materials. Even if you use the plastics, you can adopt more recyclable plastics. That is something the enterprises or business can do. Or if I am a logistic operator, if I'm a deliver boy or deliver company owner, all of us should shoulder our responsibilities. We should also identify our own business model. On one hand, we can sustain our own business. On the other hand, we can encourage the users to recover, to recycle the plastics. If I run a restaurant, maybe in my restaurant, I can make a policy that is, in my restaurant, no plastic bowls or plastic utensils can be used. And in US, I noticed there is a resource plastic, which is a platform, and this platform will collaborate directly with major enterprises, helping them to assess the footprint, or I should call it a plastic footprint in their production, and in which step and in which aspect they can improve their plastic footprint. So they have such plastic control platforms on which they make the commitment, and they also access to partnership, and they can collaborate ideas, technologies, and resources, so they can come up with practical and applicable resolutions. Those things are sustainable, applicable, and practical. Yes, I agree with you. We see the problem, and to address the problem, we need to jump out of our box, and we ought to approach those problems from a new perspective. And only in this way we can come up with innovative solutions. So over the past years, are there any innovative ideas or solutions you have noticed over the past years that can help to address the challenges from plastic pollutant? Okay, let me put it in this way. You know that some friends, they are so addicted to coffee. They drink coffee every day. So for a whole year, they will say use 365, at least just 365 plastic cups of coffee cup, right? Can we avoid the assumption of this kind? Maybe one day you see the coffee shop give you a new policy. If you bring your own coffee cup with you to buy the coffee, I will give you, say, 20% discount. Maybe it's an incentive for you to bring your own coffee cup with you. But you know, some consumers, they would not be attracted by such a small discount. What they want is convenience, right? Yes, I agree with you. So sometimes we do not want to bring our own cup. Sometimes we do not want to bring our own cup because it's not convenient. But I noticed that in UK and in Germany, some companies, they adopt innovative technologies to achieve their goal. For example, they have some recyclable coffee cups. So when the consumers go into their coffee shop, they will say, give you such a recyclable cup, and they will ask you to put a very small mortgage, a small deposit money there. You deposit a very small amount of money in the coffee shop, and you can take that cup away, and you can reuse the coffee cup time and time again, rather than those disposable plastic cup. Yeah, I see some similar practice. For example, in China, those farm owners, when they sell the milk to the consumers, they will use glass bottles that can be reused and recycled. Will that result in the concerns about safety, in particular the food hygiene and food safety? Yes, I got your point, but please consider that every day when you go to a restaurant, will you always use the disposable bowls and dishes? No. I believe you also use the glass, and you will use the plate. They are made of ceramics, right? So as long as you can clean them up properly, it will not result in the safety concerns. And also, this kind of practice can be expanded to other sectors, including the logistic delivery sectors. You know, in China, shared economy is very popular. We share bicycles, we share the power banks, we share the chargers. So why not share our coffee cup? If possible, we can share our dishes, we can share our delivery service. And yes, as you just mentioned, technology can bring new ideas, and new ideas can bring new solutions. So what we should do is to find our own new inspirations, and I believe with that we can come up with new business models, and all of which can contribute to reducing the consumption of plastics. So now we listen to the insight from our 5 experts, and they share their experience, their opinions, and their stories. So my question now is for the audience. Do you have anything to comment, to supplement, or do you have any questions to put forward for our panelists? Since I see we have the audience both online and offline, so I see some of you are taking notes, and when you listen to the speaker, you are nodding your head.
And you have some agreements or disagreement with any opinions and ideas. 有想要就是
Anyone who would like to share your opinions? And our online audience, so far no question. So maybe I should ask a question from Mr. Liu, because I see you keep nodding your head. So do you have anything to supplement? Okay. Maybe I will still talk about my own industry. How can we control the plastic consumption in a sustainable way? We have to admit that for business, profitability for them is very important. Any upfront investment for new technology, even the green technology, they should consider their returns, right? They cannot do anything just for the sake of public welfare. They need to make profits. And we see increasing amount of international convention, international agreement. But what we should ensure is a fair play business environment for all enterprises worldwide. For example, if the enterprises in one region and one company make upfront investment in green technology, I also expect my competitors to do the same. Otherwise, I will be put in the disadvantaged position in competition. And also, the government should take more incentive measures. Maybe you can give some subsidies to those enterprises who invest on green technology. And we also need to give fair play to the market mechanism. Free market also should play a role in it. You know that the enterprises need money, and the money comes from the financial institutions. Let's take the banks as an example. If the banks see it is a growing trend for the growing economy, so the banks should have a long-term view as a strategic investor. So they should consider what kind of project they should invest in coming 20 or 30 years. So maybe in this context, they will invest on those green technology as well. So that's my opinion. Thank you for sharing. Once again, let's give our big applause to all of the panelists.
To all the speakers, thank you for your wonderful sharing today. Thank you. 那我们可以看到，其实
We see that in today's discussion, we see the globalization, and we also see the integration of world economy, and that can be dated back to over 500 years before, when people began to explore the mystery and the miracle of our Mother Ocean. So, ocean economy is a very important platforms for all of us. On one hand, we continuously explore the myth, resources, and wealth in the deep ocean. On the other hand, we have to make sure what we have made, all those efforts, all those explorations we have made so far are sustainable. And we should also fully leverage the emerging technologies to serve us and also to pay back our Mother Earth. And also we should adopt innovative business models with innovative technology, innovative ideas, and innovative business models that can jointly resolve the challenges from plastic waste. So I think today's discussion is beginning for our collaboration and a beginning for our thinking and our exploration in this regard. Today's discussion is really inspiring for all of us, and I believe it will further trigger new ideas from all of you. Once again, let's give a warm applause to all of you. Thank you.